Hey, sixth graders, Miss Power here to walk you through how to write your own fractured fairy tale as a culmination activity of our unit on fairy tales that we have been doing. So to access the Google Doc, you're just going to click on it, click on the link, and it's going to bring you to this sheet. So first off, what is a fractured fairy tale? A fractured fairy tale is a fairy tale or a folk tale that has been modified in such a way as to make us laugh at an unexpected characterization, plot development, or contrary point of view. Fractured means to break, so it's kind of like a broken fairy tale. You take a fairy tale that you already know or is well known and change it to create your own. Before you write your own, it would be important that you look at examples of fractured fairy tales that have been published. So if you click on this link right here, it's going to bring you to a website called Brightly, which has awesome book suggestions on it. I love this website. So here are some examples of fractured fairy tales. Some of my favorites would be The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. That is let's get that out of there. That is an example of a fractured fairy tale with a contrary point of view. So it's told from the big bad wolf, and you end up rooting for the villain, the big bad wolf, in this fractured fairy tale. Some of the other ones, Who Pushed Humpty Dumpty? This one I like too, Ninja Red Riding Hood. So here are different examples, and if you scroll down, you can read more about them to get ideas of what was changed within that fairy tale to make it a fractured fairy tale. So take a look at those so you get some ideas of different ways that you could fracture a fairy tale. After you've looked at those, I want you to watch this video, which is advice from an author on how to write a fractured fairy tale. So she has actually...
Hi, Tara Lazar here to talk to you about how to write a fractured fairy tale.
So she has written, published fractured fairy tales. So she's going to give you her advice on how to write a fractured fairy tale. So it's important that you watch Tara Lazar give you tips and tricks of how to write a fractured fairy tale. After you've watched that, you can go to this website right here to access a kind of Mad Lib style fractured fairy tale. So you're going to go through here and put in, what do you want your character's name to be? Ben Hoxie, he's a male. How would you describe it? It gives you, so you're going to pick an adjective. So maybe he's strong. A type of animal. How about a chicken? How many animals will be in the above story? I'm going to say 3. And then so you go down all the way through here and you pick all this stuff. You fill all this in, and then write me a fairy tale, and it will basically, it's a fill in the blank Mad Lib that you can read. Why I'm giving you this website is that I think it will help you get an idea of how to fracture a fairy tale so that you can write your own. And what's your pen name? That simply means like, what is the author's name? I ended up going with Missy as my pen name. So there's that. After you do the Mad Lib style fractured fairy tale, let's see if it's going to let me do it without having everything filled in. Yeah, I'm missing stuff, so I can't. But it's going to just bring it up. You can read it. After you've played with that, I want you to go down to this graphic organizer for writing. And you might have to enable a Flash player. See where it says Get Flash? Just to allow. And here it comes up. So what is a fractured fairy tale? It's a story that uses fairy tales you know and changes the characters, setting, point of view, or plot. Ever heard of The True Story of the Three Little Pigs? Or The Wolf Who Cried Boy? So here you can read samples of fractured fairy tales. And here's where you write your own. It's going to have you write your own based on these 3. So you pick whichever one you want. And it gives you the fairy tale right here. And then you can write a fractured version of this fairy tale or choose a different one. So maybe you want to do Jack and the Beanstalk. So you look through it, and then if you do want to write it, you choose that. And then you get to choose your changes. So are you ready to write a fractured version of Jack and the Beanstalk? Before you do, remember there are lots of ways that you can do it. You can change the main character, have the story take place somewhere else, have the story take place in another time, tell it from a different character's point of view. You can make the problem of the story different, change an important item in the story, or you can even change the end of the story. Maybe they don't live happily ever after all. So you can choose your changes. It's going to walk you through them. It's not going to let me go through that because I have to fill them in. This is a guide, and it's going to base it on those 3 different fairy tales. If you have your own idea for a fractured fairy tale that you want to write, go ahead and just open up a Google Doc and type up that fractured fairy tale. These are just ideas to help you get started if you need that support. If you want to write one based on other fairy tales that are not on this list, then feel free to just open up your own Google Doc and type your own. Once you have your fractured fairy tale all written and you're happy with what you have, you've gone back through, you've reread it, you've checked for spelling and grammar, you've used your Grammarly app extension, to check that over, you are going to click here to get to Flipgrid, where you're going to record yourself reading your fractured fairy tale. Remember all of the cool things that you can do with Flipgrid. I know you used it on Monday of this week with Mrs. Terminelli. And she showed you all of the different things that you can do. So I gave you, I think, a 5-minute time limit. So you just go to the plus button, record yourself. You can do all this other cool stuff to it. And then post it, and you'll get to view other classmates' fractured fairy tales as well. This enrichment activity will be due Monday, June 15th. So today is Wednesday. So maybe today you want to do the first couple steps. Maybe you want to look at examples and listen to the video of the advice from the author. Maybe tomorrow, Thursday, you want to play with this Mad Lib style fractured fairy tale writing activity. And maybe start to think about what your fractured fairy tale will look like. Friday, maybe you want to actually write it and then come back to it on Monday and revise and make sure it's the way you want it and record your Flipgrid on Monday. Up to you how you do it. That might be one way to break it up, though. We're super excited to see what you come up with for a fractured fairy tale. And as always, if you have any questions, just please reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you. All right, guys, have a great day.